Good morning. This is Daily Hebrew Declarations with Daniel Jedediah Cook, and I'm reading the declaration for today, January the 4th, 2021. The three Hebrew letters we're honoring today are Mem, Dalet, and Shin. Along with those three living letters, we're also honoring the spirit of understanding, the spirit of the Lord, and the spirit of might. We also want to honor Prophet Teresa Bowen from here at the Gates of Zion. The declaration today reads this: water, a frequency reflecting vibrations. Dimensions, dreams, and visions. Three flames representing Yahweh, Yeshua, and Ruach HaKodesh. Now, today's declaration really begins to stir up something that Yahweh had shown me quite some time ago. I was talking to a friend of mine from India, and during our conversation, we decided that we would begin to engage. Now, some of you may have heard the term ascending before, and I like the word ascending because it does imply that place of us rising up and to look from the place of the heavenlies. But to me, I don't want to just go up there just to visit. I want to go up there and engage. I want to be a part of that. And so I tend to use the word engage there instead of the word ascend, just for my own part of this, because then it engages me to say, you know what, I am living in both places at the same time. I have my feet standing here on the earth, and yet my head in the heavenlies. I'm looking in, and I'm seeing through the eyes of Yahweh. During our ascension, if you will, or during our engagement, I began to see this place of water. And as I was looking, there was just these little ripples across the water, and Daniel was standing right in front of me. Now, as he was standing there, he was just looking towards me, and that was about it. And I began to notice that there was someone else there, but I couldn't see them. And suddenly I began to realize that Enoch was off to the side in a place where I really couldn't see. But he had his hands on the water itself, and he was causing the ripples as he was playing with his fingers inside of the water. And so the ripples that were up around Daniel's feet were the ones that Enoch was creating. Suddenly, Enoch grabbed a hold of the water almost like a carpet and began to undulate with the water itself. And the waves that were surrounding Daniel suddenly became much higher and much greater. Suddenly there was a tumultuous type of a water going on there because Enoch had stirred up the water. Well, see, that was the end of the vision. And so there's still a part of that I'm kind of curious as to why Yahweh had taken me through that and allowed me to see it. I know for me, it really began to engage a connection that I knew that Yahweh was giving me both with Daniel and with Enoch, because I was witnessing this whole process that was going on. I'll be honest with you, I'm beginning to see a little bit more now about the depths of that, but I'm not ready to share that right at the moment. But see, one of the things that Daniel was known to do was that of being able to interpret dreams. You know, we think about the dreams of the kings, the Nebuchadnezzar and so on, the dreams that happened, you know, and how Daniel was able to go in and explain what those dreams were. You see, it's in that place where Dalet begins to open a door, and it opens a door to be able to see beyond. You know, this year has come up, and I've begun to see a deeper place that we have as sons. We know that recently with the Jupiter and Saturn aligning, one of the things that we have all heard, and I know that I want to honor Christopher Carter as well as others that I have heard say the same thing, in the place where that Saturn and Jupiter were speaking, the heavenlies were speaking, it's time for the kings to rise up. And so we moved into a time where now the kings are rising up in the earth. Well, ever since the last, I guess probably 2 or 3 months, Yahweh's begun to speak to me about Shin, particularly about the fire. I will never look at a candle the same way ever again, because suddenly now I'm seeing some things that I'll share with you guys a little bit later on. Shared with you a little bit, so if you go back on the podcasts, then you'll be able to see the podcast there. But in this place of the fire, I'm beginning to see that this year is also a place of the letter Shin. Now, I did not realize that in the Hebrew that we're actually moving into the year of Shin as well. And so there's a unique place that Yahweh is placing us to be. But one of the things that I do know that Yahweh has been speaking to me is that when we look at ourselves, how do we see ourselves? I'm beginning to see myself as that fire. You see, it's in these dreams, it's in these dimensions, in these visions that Yahweh gives us, that he begins to take us beyond. Remember, Dalet is the door. Dalet is the place that takes us to be able to see beyond. You know, when we start talking about the Shin Gadol, let me just say this, that the Shin Gadol is a letter that represents that place of seeing beyond, of looking beyond, of going beyond. And so in this place where Dalet is taking us today, we're beginning to see the place of knowing that Yahweh is showing us a doorway and a portal, a place where we cross over. But see, when we talk about the flame, particularly when we're talking about Shin, I love the fact that we're going to be dealing with Shin all year this year with the daily Hebrew declarations, because we're going to get to see a lot of different perspectives of the Shin. But one of the ways that you can see the Shin is as the three flames, representing Yahweh, Yeshua, and Ruach HaKodesh. So in that, you got the three parts of the living letter Shin. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, if you will. Yahweh, Yeshua, and Ruach HaKodesh. And it's in that place that we see that the three are a part of that fire. Remember when Yeshua was on the earth and he says, I must go to be with my Father, because if I go, I will give you the Comforter, and he will lead you and guide you into all truth. The Ruach HaKodesh. You know, I was listening to Prophet Teresa Bowen yesterday during church, and she began to talk about that place. And she was giving a quote from a gentleman who had spoken this before, or from a book. I'm not sure exactly where she got it from, because I'm doing this off of memory right now. But she got this statement where he said, how much more so when we think about the the people of that time, thinking, what would it be like to be there during the time of Yeshua? What would it be like to be able to walk and talk with him, and to be able to even put our hands on him and to touch him, or to just be there with him and to hear his words? And those same people turning back around to us and looking at us and saying, oh, but what would it be like to be in the time where you are, where Ruach HaKodesh is inside of you. He lives with you. He's operating through you. The very Spirit of Yeshua himself is with you, and with you always. There's not waiting for him to come into you. You're operating that day in, day out, from every moment, from start to finish. It's another way of looking at it, isn't it? Because the fire of Almighty Yahweh is inside of us. So you see, as we look at this, let's take the whole declaration today and let's pull it together as one. The mem, the waters, the place of the vibrations, the frequency. Our bodies are made up of water. And so as the frequency of Yahweh is going forth, remember his word says, my word goes forth into all the earth, and it will not return back to me void. It will accomplish all that I have set it out to accomplish. So, from his vibration, from his frequency, our waters begin to vibrate. And they begin to vibrate in unison. They begin to sync in unison. They begin to be able to come together in unison. They are in unison already. It's funny. I've just realized that I've said that we're going to begin. The truth is there's a part of me that really hates that statement. So I'm just going to be real with you right here, because yes, there is a place of about to begin, and yet at the same time, there is a place of it always is. And I want to look at it from that place of the always is. That the always is the frequency that I am in sync with Almighty Yahweh. That my vibrations are in the sync with Almighty Yahweh. So please forgive me as we go through this, that we begin to see the depths of Yahweh's frequency inside of us, vibrating inside of us. You see, we are walking into a portal. We are stepping into a new place. Yes, there is a period of time, and yet there's a walking through. but we are walking through the door into Shin.